We have already connected the Google Play Store to App Center. And for us to connect the App Store, we will have to do something very similar. However, like I mentioned, of course, it has to be published in the App Store, but I did find that Apple rejected this particular application from the store because they said, and I guess they are right, this wasn't really providing any native functionality. And by that, I mean that this simply looked pretty much like a web interaction. And if you remember, I did have only a web view. All I was doing is listing in this page all of those blog posts. So I made a small change in here. If I select one of the elements now, we are going to be navigated to something that is now native, or it's something that is created not with a web view. This is actually now, and let me show you, over on the post page.saml, this is now an image and a couple of labels. So nothing fancy in here, actually 3 labels. One for the creator, one for the date, and one for the description. So again, nothing really major in here. All I'm doing is changing the previous web view, and in the C# file where I was simply setting the content or the source for the web view, I am now setting a couple more things. So the source for an image to the URL, and the text of 3 labels to the creator, the published date, and the description. But the main thing is that we have to get this application, of course, published to the App Store. Now we are going to be able to navigate over to App Center and connect the App Store to our application. Over here in App Center, then I am on my iOS application. I'm of course in the Build tab, and I'm here on my master branch, which currently had a configuration of release. Let me change this to App Store. As soon as I change it to App Store, we cannot set the simulator build. We have to have a device build selected. We are going to be building on every push, timestamp, and we will now have to sign these builds. So the certificate is going to be the same that before, because we are still with our distribution certificate creating the mobile provisioning profile. So that is what I'm going to be setting in here. The same certificate, same password. But the provisioning profile itself will now have to be the one that we created specifically for the store. If you remember, we created one that was for distribution already, but for ad hoc purposes. And then we created one for the store. So this is going to require that other provisioning profile. I find this LPA finance _pp _store, and that's the one that I have to open and set right here. With the builds being signed, I can distribute my builds. And it is here where I will now be able to select Connect to Stores. Of course, I will have to select iTunes Connect and authenticate myself. Here, if you are not authenticated, you have to, of course, authenticate yourself with your Apple developer credentials. Here I have already done so, so I see my account on the list. You can simply select New Account and here enter your Apple ID and your password. I will go ahead and select my account, click on Connect, and all I have to do now is select my application that is now here listed. You'll find that similar to what we see on Android, we see here now the production and the iTunes Connect users, which is very interesting because if you are not using App Center to distribute directly as we've been doing, you could also distribute to TestFlight. So it's quite interesting that you can do that as well. But of course, you will find the production option. And all you have to do is head back to your master branch and back where we were setting this to distribute. In fact, see something that I did remember on Android, I didn't remember here. Now this is lost because I didn't save the changes. So let me do that again. First, set to App Store. Since we are already signing, we need the provisioning profile and the certificate password, distribute the builds, and this time we are going to see the stores listed because we are already connected there. So both iTunes Connect users and production. So we can select production, we can add just like we saw on Android, an optional release note, and of course save the changes. So now every single time we push new things to our master branch, we will be able to distribute to the store. And so that easy, just like in Android, we have connected everything. As we saw with Android, this is now going to greatly simplify our distribution process to any one of our users. So now we will be able to distribute not only to the groups that we have, for example, the collaborators and the testers, but also to the stores. But that is everything that we were missing here on iOS. Now in the next lecture, now that we have everything connected, we're going to go ahead and simulate or actually release a brand new feature that we're going to add to our application and see how is it that we're going to be distributing very easily with the help of App Center to all of our users.